Good day. My name is May Jones, and I am a passionate hair artist. I specialize in all textured hair and color. For as long as I can remember, I have always loved playing and working with hair. I started coordinating and directing my own photo shoots a couple years ago. Then, honestly, before I knew it, I was invited to Raw Artists, which is a showcase of artists of any and all kinds of arts. After I was invited to New York Fashion Week and then Denver Fashion Week, and now I've been volunteering at Denver Fashion Week and the Red Ball. Recently, I've been published in a 303 fashion magazine, and I have future projects lined up. I love helping people feel and look good, whether it's a haircut and color or a simple bake trim. You look good, you feel good. I am a glam ambassador for 99 Hearts, and I have supported a variety of arts of hair and makeup. I love working and creating with 99 Hearts. Helping others find their inner light in a fun, artistic makeover helps me find peace. I always strive to live my best life, and I find joy in helping others do the same. Every day is a vacation when you love your occupation.
Hi everyone, I am Jacqueline Rose, the founder of 99 Hearts. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about our social enterprise, Wild Rose Moments, and how we positively impact people that are currently struggling with suicide or have even lost somebody through suicide. I am the founder of the organization, and we just passed our 6th birthday in October. Very excited about all the things that we have on the horizon. We help people through horses and transformative resources with 3 programs, and I wanted to share a little bit more about the why behind the organization and what this mission and the desired impact that we have and why we're excited about the future. Horses saved my life, and really this dream to help people through horses saved my life as a very small child. I was born into a very sadistic situation. I was born into a religious cult and sustained a whole variety of every type of abuse, torture, and depression that one can imagine for a very small child. Began at weeks of age, and my first thoughts of needing to escape were at 3 years old as I looked out the side of a window of the 2nd story and thought, what if I jumped out? Would that be an escape from this place? And I named this house, childhood house, the House of Horrors. And it truly was. There was every type of abuse that you can imagine, but then the requirement to look as if everything is all okay on the outside. And At about 5 years old, I remember one of my very first camping trips in Golden Gate Canyon State Park area. I found the most magical dream. And when I woke up, there were elk outside, and I remember thinking this is a magical place, and one day I'll have a ranch in this area. And I remember passing all of the ranches and the houses and being very mesmerized with how beautiful they were and how in nature that we were, being so close to where we had come from. And so that day I created this dream that I would grow up to help people like myself that didn't have an escape or didn't have a magical place, didn't have a childhood, to come and visit to be able to see horses. And at the time it was a child's dream. I didn't realize there were such things as horse therapy or therapy at all. And fast forward to age 6, things had gotten to a degree where I didn't feel like I was able to make it any longer, and decided I would commit suicide. I would leave the earth. And I remember looking over at a poster that I had with the white horse and thinking, what about the dream? I remembered over the last while I had been spending each night 30 minutes a night wishing to the stars to grow up to have this magical ranch and magical place. And it stopped me looking at that white horse thinking, well, what if I was able to do this? And that was life, was waking up with all these wonderful animals and to nature and the outdoors, and escape from the city and escape from all things that were not worth living for. And that moment was when I really just stopped and stared myself in the mirror and decided that I would fight. I would fight to the death, meaning as long as my heart was beating, I would get this dream and have this dream and live in this place with all of these horses. And so that's the vision behind 99 Hearts. And at age 18, I flooded myself into the corporate world and got into industries that were very brutal, male-dominated industries, and really had to face myself and used the experience that I gained with horses. I had a beautiful horse named Ebony, and she was a horse that someone that was a mentor to me, and someone that I very much attribute a lot of my goals and dreams. She was this fantastic, beautiful entrepreneur that had really the world that she created for herself and had multiple businesses and these wild, beautiful horses that she would rescue and a ranch. And I remember thinking, well, I think I could do it if she could do it. And she asked me one day, would you please ride this very unruly horse? And she likes to bug people off, but I think that you'll get along. And so I did, and she taught me how to ride out the buck and to correct the horse from that. And over time, this horse became my absolute world, really best friend and teacher of how to show up in the world. After escaping, it took until age 17 to really be free from this place. And going outside of that was such a daunting task, to suddenly be free and think, oh, I'm a butterfly, so I can just have this magical life. And it was absolutely not the case. It was very difficult, facing all of these things and overcoming these traumas and PTSD that flashed through your mind day after day in meetings and so forth. However, this horse gave me the strength to be able to do it. I remember I promised myself at age 11, is when I met her, I'll never fall off. I'll never fall off. That's the one promise I have with this horse, is I will never fall off. And it was a dream that stuck, because that's what the childhood dream of a 6-year-old. It was always that same vindictive personality of, I will not lose this battle against you, world. And it was very much like that with this horse. And we became like a superhero suit and a superhero, where I got to know this horse so well and learned, wow, this animal is so jealous. I remember walking my pony by, and she reached out and grabbed his head and wouldn't let go because I was playing with another horse. And it taught me, wow, how blind she is to how magical I believe she is. and she doesn't have to worry about me with another horse. She will lose all of my time and attention. And it taught me about humanity and jealousy and humanity and in the workplace and competitiveness amongst coworkers and powerful people, and allowing yourself to feel intimidated because maybe you're not the largest person in the room unless you believe it. And being afraid to surround yourself with successful people and reach for the stars and get there. It taught me all of those things and was really the passion behind bringing these rescue animals to our ranch currently here in Golden, Colorado in the foothills. The dream came true. And all those things that this wild black horse taught me of don't fall off. Whatever you do, hold on. And as if you write it out, you'll be in charge of the equation and the situation. And that's exactly what happened. An amazing, immense trajectory in the corporate world taught me so much and was so beautiful that part of what we will be doing with all of these programs is bringing more diverse people into STEM, aerospace, construction, energy, and so forth to help empower people that don't know how to find their voice. And so today, we'll be sharing some more stories much like this and how people have created magical things and magical experiences for themselves and for others and have positively impacted the world through their pain. And so we've got 3 programs here in how we serve people. Those 3 programs are suicide prevention and awareness, which is what you're here for and what this story was here for and what all these showcases are here for, is to touch people's lives that are currently struggling with suicide, and that can be ranging from a CEO to a model to an actress to somebody that is just inching through the last bit of life that they have left. And also supporting folks that have struggled with the loss of a loved one due to suicide. And our programs are very unique, and they range from workshops to retreats where people can escape and work with horses and other unique modalities combined to be able to transcend their pain, to be able to develop coping techniques and coping mechanisms to create something from their pain. We also have our workforce development program, and earlier I mentioned a little bit about STEM and women and diverse populations, but also veterans that are transitioning out of the military and other populations to provide valuable communication, leadership, and career resources that may not otherwise be available, and also to highlight diverse talent within companies. At the moment, there's a shortage of workforce, and our goal is to be able to create more opportunities for people that are in areas that they may not have noticed as something they can excel in previously. And third is family services, and that's how we started. We've really taken the ship of the mission over the last 3 years of our 6 and have really moved that needle to broaden the populations that we serve and really began serving adults. And when we began that 3 years ago, it was amazing, and we found that that's really where our niche is, and we will still support families. But what our real specialty now is, which previously it was providing pony parties for child cancer patients and serving children that had lost their parents from cancer and all different types of things. Now what we're really supporting is couples that have lost a child from suicide or cancer or stillbirth or being made aware that they are not able to conceive, and we have some really amazing offerings there, allowing people to really rise into themselves and create a family within their own means, and that isn't defined by loss and by a narrative and an experience. I want to share with you a little bit more about the amazing ecosystem that we've built to support this amazing nonprofit and our long-term mission and our very lofty goals. We have 3 social enterprises that are built around the nonprofit, each of them that supports the one particular program and gives back with everything and anything that we do. And also a large charity music show that has a version on horseback and a version on stage called The Rose Show, and also our podcast that supports The Rose Show. So some very amazing things that are happening right now. and we're so excited to be able to continue and further the mission by offering services that empower people to have amazing experiences with one another, and to also address everything ranging from mental health, relationships, physical health, and so forth, to be able to experience these things while giving back to this cause. And so starting with the Wild Rose Ranch is where we operate. Wild Rose Moments is our moments and private events arm of the Wild Rose Ranch. And it's very discreet, private events for individuals to have magic moments. Things ranging from elopes with just someone's small collection of the closest family and friends to be able to have their custom magical day, and beautiful photos with all of our backdrops and animals and so forth, to be able to have a magical celebration in a secluded environment. Divorce parties and celebrations for somebody to be able to rise back into their experience and be able to have a photo shoot with their best friends, and magical moments that are always custom. And speakeasies for small teams. And the events provide something unique and one of a kind. And each animal here, we are an animal sanctuary, a horse sanctuary and rescue. And so each of the animals has experienced something ranging from abuse, neglect, extreme age where they're in the sunset of their lives, all types of things that you can imagine animals can go through. We've rehomed animals successfully, but then each of the animals here has a permanent home and sanctuary where they're able to rehab and to experience a life worth living themselves as they give back to people with these beautiful moments. And so take a look at what we do and what we're launching. And so with today's event, we've combined forces, Wild Rose Moments and 99 Hearts, to provide an experience where you'll hear some empowering stories, minicast podcasts, and it will be learning what some of these other individuals have gone through to get to where they are, and how they've used adversity to rise and create. So stay tuned, and please be sure to keep a look on our website for other events that we have. We'll be sending out and sharing these videos on a frequent basis so you can find more and more empowering stories. And when you're in those dark moments, or somebody that you know is in those dark moments, can take a look at some of the ways those dark moments can create something magical that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to continue sharing our journey with you. All right, well, thanks for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Rose, the founder of 99 Hearts and Wild Rose Moments. We've brought some amazing models together to talk a little bit more about overcoming adversity and creating something amazing from both the darkness and the light in your life. Here I have Jana, and really excited to showcase her and get some amazing outfit and hair work. This is Sawa Owens Design, a local designer here in Colorado who did some amazing, fierce things around charity, around fashion. May Jones is passionate hair artist on Instagram, and she has cultivated this amazing look of hearts. And so Jana today is kind of the Queen of Thrones, and you can see the little heart that she's got here. So really excited to have you on board and joining us today. So you could just start by telling me all about yourself.
Sure. Yes. Thank you for the intro. I'm Jana, and I'm a lover of animals. I am a creative. I love to connect with other women, and I love to paint. It's beautiful to be out here in the mountains today. One thing I'm proud to share about myself is leading the Shameless Squad. It's a women's social club based in Denver, and it's all about women and just the community and as a bigger picture, being more shameless in how you pursue yourself, how you pursue others, like an anti-shame culture, whether that is something you feel internal or it's something that you're projecting onto others. Or I just want people to feel more free to live their own life without considering what others may have to say about it.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'm so grateful that you're here to represent that. And it's such an important thing in Denver with the culture of evolution and of people feeling into the bravery of being themselves and showcasing being themselves. And our whole entire operation here is really about helping people embrace who they are and what made them who they are, and being bold about who they are, and not stuck into a box of any kind and any beliefs, and also just cultivating an essence of, within all of our retreats, our work with the horses we bring into the programs, is all about really allowing people to feel comfortable being different. Mm-hmm. So I'm so excited to hear that. How did you get involved?
Something to celebrate,
Yes.
How did I get involved
in Shameless Squad?
Oh, well, it all started when I moved here after college, and I started to just break out of some boundaries I may have felt before. I started some boudoir photography as a model, and I felt so empowered and proud of that work. And I also was changing career paths at the time, and my friends were just kind of astonished that I didn't give any consideration into what other people, like my parents or my professors or career advisors or whatever, I didn't really consider what any of them may have had to say about it. And one of my friends said, well, then you're just shameless. And it clicked. It clicked right away. And I realized that not everyone felt that way. And that's the root of Shameless Squad. That's where it started.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. So empowering people to be shameless.
Yeah, just spreading that lifestyle and the mindset that goes behind it.
Wonderful. And so you are a powerful person. You've obviously cultivated some wonderful things and created a name for yourself in this area and have done modeling and all these things. We have some viewers that are in the heart of the struggle where maybe they're not sure how to continue holding on, mm-hmm. or if there's hope beyond their current situation, or if they're, in a younger age group with what they grew up with. And can you talk a little bit about what your darkest adversity that maybe no one knows under your iceberg of someone would meet you and think, wow, what a wonderful, powerful woman, right?
Right.
But what's underneath that iceberg that created that, mm-hmm. some of the adversity?
Sure. I think that I wouldn't just be speaking in past tense about dark times. I feel that I still struggle with my mental health every day. And instead of viewing it as something that is short term, something like that you overcome, kind of like a physical ailment, I think that it's learning how to live with it. Mental health isn't something that you can just cure. It's something that you work on all the time. So I encourage everybody to see past somebody's image or persona that you might feel from them, because I think more of us than we assume are dealing with that. Earlier this year, I had a really dark spell, and I don't think there's any one or two things that provoked that. And that's something that I don't hear very often. Usually you hear about something traumatic or a change in someone's life that leads to depression or anxiety. But really, it just can be a slippery slope. And I don't think there should be so much emphasis on what the root cause is. I think that could be kind of irrelevant. Something terrible doesn't have to happen to you to be struggling with mental health. And the reason that I feel better about it today than I did maybe 6 months ago is I opened up to my family members about my inner struggles. I was dealing with some suicidal thoughts, and that's how I knew it was time to expand and not just, isolate myself. And that was the best thing I ever did. I talked to my mom, my brother, my sister, my dad, and they all were so helpful in helping me take the next steps to seek help. And it's something I never really did before. And it's been really, really helpful.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. I'm very inspired to hear that. And it's beautiful to have the bravery to be able to own that, because it is not a foreign thing. We struggle, right? And you meet these successful people and imagine that it isn't them. And sometimes I think that brings us down to these lower spaces. And one thing that we've served people from CEOs all the way to somebody that just is inching through life, right? Here at the ranch and with the nonprofit. And so if somebody wants, if there's somebody out there that's watching that goes, I want to be shameless. I want to do that. I want to embody that. I want to stop caring about what my family expects or what my upbringing expects. How, maybe 3 things, what would you say to them right now that they can start doing and feeling?
I think that it's really uncomfortable, but to own your own truth and to speak it out loud is so empowering, because you really teach yourself how brave, how fearless you are when you say things out loud, because you know that's your truth and you're not speaking it or altering it to please somebody else. I think that's so empowering, and you feel a sense that you're taking your life in your own hands. And so that's step number 1. And I think that second and very important aspect of being shameless is to do things with intention. If you're intentional about what you want to say, what you want to do, what you want to wear, what you want to do, like no matter what it is, if you have intention, then that's all you need behind you to back you up. It's less about ideas that other people may have and more about your own. And then third, if you find yourself speaking your truth and being shameless and living with intention, and somebody is going to bring you down for that, then there's no space for them in your life, in my opinion. I think that can be really difficult, especially if maybe that person is a family member or somebody. It's like easier said than done. But I think that if you're being honest and having that conversation with them, everybody should have space for you to be authentic.
Great advice. Very good advice. And what's something, so kind of a fun one here. What's something that people would be surprised to learn about you that just by meeting you, they would never guess?
Oh. Well, I dissected a human body once. And I'm a vegetarian. Then that's actually why. But honestly, I kind of wear myself on my sleeve. So I'm a very transparent of a person. I try to be, at least. And so I think that's the most shocking or unpredictable thing I could come up with. But yeah, I am. I don't like to hold too much back.
Good. So that's part of living shamelessly, right?
Yeah, it's freeing to be transparent and to be truthful. You don't have to think so much about what you should say or what you should do or how you should act. You just put it all out there.
What would you advise somebody that wants to create a tribe or culture or connection with like-minded people? How did you find that for yourself and create it?
Well, it started very small, and honestly, that small tribe created itself before Shameless was ever a real thought. Um, the first person that I opened up to about this idea, her name is Drea, and she's very shameless in all aspects of her life. And I was so encouraged when I met her. I had first moved to Denver, and we met at my cousin Connor's concert. And I was just, I thought she was a breath of fresh air because she was a woman that embraced our new friendship and our meeting and our conversations. And she had depth to her. And in no way did I feel like we were competing or one-upping each other. We just embraced one another right away. And that was another motivation behind Shameless is too many women are competing when that's so counterproductive and unfun. Doesn't feel good. So she was, I think, our friendship that we had just created and been building was like a pillar behind the idea and the motivation. So my advice to other people would be to share these ideas that you may have with other people that come off to you as like-minded in that sense, and really cultivate those relationships before anything else. Then you have something to build off of.
Beautiful. You said something amazing, which I love, is the non-competition. Right now, it's more important than it ever has been to be able to be authentic and to be able to find people that are supporting one another. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to embrace that, to embrace that at an early age, to embrace that in the culture of what you're creating and building. And, just a reminder to some of you that are creating and maybe you're still in the heart space where you just have this heartborn mission where you know you want to do it and you know you're going to do it. And one thing that listening to someone like yourself and some of the things that we've done here is, especially for ladies, I would like to encourage you to move past the paradigm of scarcity. There is no such thing as scarcity. Abundance exists. Whether you are somebody that is creating a culture, whether it's somebody that's creating a business, there is abundance, enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. And the more of that tribe that you have, the more that you feel into your authenticity and your power, the more that's going to come to you. And the more that you weave an authentic energy and aren't willing to say, I'm better or you're better, or I am afraid of you to talk to you or to, be next to you or you're further ahead, the less we can cultivate that in our lives and the more we can own our own power and our passion, the more you'll find abundance. I just want to remind you guys that. Mm-hmm. And Jana is the perfect example of what we can do in the city.
It feeds off of itself, off of each other, Yeah. And I think it's so important what you said about being authentic and actually expressing that, because with the competitive nature that just humans and especially women may feel, I think builds on itself when people are quiet about it, because so many times I hear women say, I thought you would have been this or that. And they're always negative or intimidating or mean spirited things that maybe another woman assumed I would be like, until we get to know each other, until we start talking. And if you never bridge that gap, a lot of those misconceptions or ideas become more concrete in someone's mind, and they may never exist in the first place. So that conversation is so important to have.
Yes. What's an example of a story where you were misunderstood?
I mean, it just happens on a regular basis. Last weekend I met some new friends through other mutual friends, and I guess I was quiet at first. I just didn't have a lot to say, and I was kind of observing the room, and there's conversations going on that I was listening to rather than partaking in. And the woman who owns the house that I was in, she said, you're so much more than I thought you were going to be. And those are just small comments that I appreciate. I love that honesty, and that she was being authentic and transparent. That doesn't hurt my feelings that, maybe she had a preconceived notion about me. I was proud that we cleared the air, and those ideas never came to be reality. And we had some great conversations and shared some new ideas with each other. It was refreshing. So I think that happens on a regular basis, really, most times that I meet new people. Mm. And so it must be something that about me that gives these impressions, but that's okay. I'm just gonna be me and clear those ideas up one at a time.
Yeah, shameless. Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much, Jacqueline.
Yes, thank you for being a part of this, and it's exciting to share stories with wonderful people that are doing wonderful things that people may never understand. Just how all of us are ordinary people, the most successful, the most intangible, untouchable people that you see out there are ordinary people, and it's beautiful to be able to showcase these lovely, empowering stories. So I want to ask a question. You may or may not have seen the movie, but don't look up. So let's imagine that good. You've got 12 months, and the Earth's going down. What do you do?
I spend it with my family. Oh my gosh, I just spent time with my family recently, and we hadn't all been together for extended time in a long time, and it really helped ground me and remember that everything that can seem stressful or exciting, things that I'm working towards, at the end of the day, if there was a meteor coming and I had limited time left on Earth, I want to spend it with my family, with my nieces, my siblings. That's what I would do. We'd probably all go running towards my sister's house in Nashville. At least I hope we all would.
Yeah, go out with some good music.
Yeah, and some good board games and some just funny atmosphere. Yeah. I look forward to the next time we do that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story and more about yourself. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers about holding on, about resilience, about what you've overcome, what you've leaned into?
Yeah, I think what I'd like to share as a take-home point is definitely to open up to somebody when you're feeling like you're in a dark space, because I think I'm not alone in isolating myself when it comes to those things. I live with my boyfriend, and I hadn't even been transparent with him about these thoughts and feelings I had. It took that extended time with my family to really open up and feel safe with that. And I wish that I had pushed myself to do that sooner. So yeah, don't take it on by yourself, and you don't need to have some sad story to justify why you're feeling a certain way. Your mental health is physical health of the brain, and sometimes things get off and you need to reset them, even if you don't know why they were off in the first place. So it's got to be more common than we think.
Yes, great advice. Thank you. You hear that, guys? Really, if you are struggling, listening to Jana's story, family was mentioned on multiple occasions, leaning into those people, those places. For some of us, for myself, it wasn't people. My family was the challenge, and and it was horses. It was art. It was music. And there's so many wonderful things. And some of the most magical things in this earth right now, technology, business, has been cultivated based upon somebody just investing themselves into, I'm not going back there. I'm not letting go. I'm not giving up. And that's where magic is created. So cheers again. And thank you for being here. And can't wait to see all the wonderful things that you do.
For the record, I would love to dip my toes in some horse therapy.
Ooh, beautiful. Well, then you will get what you want. Thanks, everyone. All right. Well, today we're so excited to welcome Miss Monica to the show and to talk more about herself and what she's been through and what she's created. You have some really amazing things that you do in Denver, and you're an entrepreneur, you're a model, you're a wonderful person. Why don't you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. So my name's Monica. I'm from Denver, born and raised. I left for a bit and then I came back about 2.5 years ago. I grew up being very athletic. I attempted to try every sport under the sun. Some stuck, some didn't. But I was a figure skater for 10 years. I played soccer for 10 years, played volleyball for, I believe, 5. So a very, very active upbringing. And then just, I loved like exploring Denver and being outdoors and really kind of like immersing myself in the city. Currently I'm a business owner. I have 2 full-time businesses that I run, as well as a few side things. And I just absolutely love supporting women. I love meeting amazing women like yourself. And I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, cheers to that.
Cheers,
Wonderful.
Debbie.
And so you talked a little bit today, and I was inspired to share that about your education and how early on in life, what has been your inspiration? Do you remember any childhood dreams or any like gazing at the stars and wishing one day I can be this or that?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of us have. However, mine was a bit different. So I grew up in a family of doctors, and they valued education tremendously. Education was more important than looks, than athleticism, than anything. It was all about how educated you were. When I was at the dinner table, and my father would ask me quiz questions all the time. I was very encouraged to read and immerse myself in that. I really grew up like developing this sense of just wanting to learn everything, wanting to know everything, being very curious. So I really kind of like took that to heart. And when I was younger, there were a lot of challenges, especially being a woman. People taking you seriously, and there's just so much that you had to deal with. And so I really kind of threw myself in education, and I wanted to learn everything. I wanted to be very well versed in as many things as I could. So I actually ended up graduating high school at 17. I was very, very studious, and I was very, very much into my extracurriculars at the point as well. So I was a competitive figure skater and part of a professional dance company all through high school and college. And then I actually ended up going to graduate school in London, and I got my master's at the time I was 24. So I was just very much about, I want to be educated. I really want to achieve a lot. And I think a lot of it comes from my upbringing, just, feeling so lucky that I had the opportunity to be educated. Especially having my grandmother, she was a woman doctor, and her mother told her, serious face, kid you not. She looked at her and said, oh, no, you should not be a doctor. Nobody will marry a woman doctor. That was the exact comment. It's just kind of growing up this family of like very powerful women. I was like, okay, no. I'm going to throw myself into this. And I want to make sure that I do as much as I can, because I just felt very lucky, and just being able to have an education in general. So that was a massive part of my upbringing and childhood.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. And so some of our viewers are in that phase right now where there's just not a lot of hope, right? There's not a lot of, I can't see the future. I know, where I am now, and it seems like it's not worth it. What are let's talk about some of the things that you've been through that have made you so motivated and open-minded and accepting of people and empowering, and into supporting women and, being a businesswoman and thriving in a man's world, all these things. Can you talk a little bit about some of what you've been through together?
Yes, definitely. I feel like I'm probably not alone as far as every person, man, woman, everyone is we've all been through things, and there's pros and cons to it. But I have this belief where I say everything's either a good experience or a good story, in the sense of, just like there's always something that you pull from things. And one thing that I, suffered with that I'm sure most of us have is like body image issues. In the sense of, so I've been 5'2" since I was 12. I remember being in grade school and all these women are skyrocketing to beautiful butterflies, and I was just there as a short caterpillar. And it was, it wasn't too terrible. Like, I wasn't profusely bullied. I had a healthy amount of bullying, but I think, that was probably normal at the time. But I was a figure skater for 10 years, a competitive figure skater. These are like the most athletic people that can pull off these incredible, like, magic tricks on ice. And it was actually really challenging because, I did gymnastics and I did soccer, and, I had such an athletic build compared to all these, other talented skaters who just, they had like the ballerina bodies, where they were 5'8" at age 11 and, 0% body fat. And, that was really challenging for me. There were definitely some moments where I really questioned my self-worth based on, how I looked and, being like, oh, my legs are larger than hers, or, I'm not as tall as they are, whatever it was. And, it was really challenging for me, but, the turning point was actually realizing that, like my body can do incredible things. And all of our bodies can, like regardless of whatever you're going through, regardless of whatever your physical state is, it's just amazing. So I have a special needs cousin. She was born that way, and she definitely has a lot of limitations to what she can do. And I look at her. She's much younger than me, but I look at her and kind of her physicality, and just a bunch of other different stories of people who were like, their bodies can't do as much as they would like them to. And like that really changed my perspective to be very thankful for the fact that like my body can do, amazing things just as itself, being a woman, maybe one day it'll make a baby, who knows? But more importantly, it's just like, like you're so lucky just to have a body that can be a figure skater, that can do these amazing things on ice, that really kind of changed my perspective on that. I still struggle a little bit, especially given our lovely social media culture where everything's filtered and, everyone wants to be 0% body fat, especially with women. There's all this plastic surgery stuff. And I just kind of made an active choice about that alone to just be very thankful and appreciative for like what I can do and, just being able to do all these things. So that was a really big aspect of my childhood and growing up. But I think now as an adult, I found like a really healthy balance of loving myself beyond my body, beyond my physicality, beyond, every additive to the sun telling me I need lip fillers or I don't know, whatever the next hot thing is. I don't know. I can't keep track. Whatever thing they're supposed to inject in your face. I'm like, maybe I want that, but I don't need it. And I think that's the best thing. So, that was a massive aspect of growing up. But I feel like I've definitely found a healthy balance of addressing that.
Good. Beautiful. Yeah, it's amazing to, think of what we overcome as kids, what we think now, or, the older you get, you go, oh, I was a kid. But, my sister and I, we grew up bullied at and those that know the story know it's a horrific story. And when we got out of our whole situation, it was just like freedom, right? Just like birds. You're like, oh my God, I don't care. I'm a bird, and I'm going to indulge in every artistic, wonderful thing possible. And we fell into a really unique scenario where it was a religious thing, and there were these just bullies. And her and I had been through so much trauma. It was the dust just settling. And I recall just thinking, I never thought I'd be bullied for being beautiful. I was so stuck on just believing that I could be beautiful one day, couldn't even see that it was present. And you said a couple of things that a lot of people resonate with right now, which is we're born in this body, right? And compare and spend time walking past a mirror and thinking like, you don't deserve this or that, or I wish you were that. Why can't you be this? Or why can't I be her or him? And it's really important to remember that what we're born in, to your point, we're physically capable. And if you're even emotionally capable, right now there are a lot of people that are physically capable and emotionally absent. So I encourage you guys watching, if you can take some time this week to take a look at yourself and move beyond society, move beyond any messages that you've been told by a partner, by a friend, by a group, by the media, by anybody, that you're not enough, and focus on the reality that you are. And it's all those things that make you different is what makes you amazing, and what makes people like yourself, like the nonprofit that we have here, and like all the other ladies that we're showcasing. It's really being different. It's being unique. It's being 5'2" and having the biggest personality in the world, right? It's all of those things that make us magic. And if you had been 5'9", maybe you wouldn't be who you are and have touched as many people as you have. So thank you for embracing who you are and for joining us on the set here, and really excited to continue showcasing amazing people doing amazing things. And we have many retreats and events planned. Each person that's here and in all of our showcases will have the opportunity to pay it forward as well, to mentor people that are in that state right now where they go, I don't know how to get to that place where I can hope again. So thank you.
Cheers.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I've got Lauren Witt here, who is an amazing individual who's been through so many things that you wouldn't imagine just by meeting her and seeing what she's done with her life. She runs a rescue ranch here in Colorado and a variety of other things, is an entrepreneur. And so, Lauren, why don't you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you've done and what you're passionate about?
Yeah, so my name is Lauren, and like you said, you already introduced me, but I am very passionate about helping others, but I'm also very passionate about helping animals, and then integrating the animal with the person in a way that is therapeutic for both of them, because they kind of bounce off each other. And I got really into riding horses when I was a kid. It really helped me through my trauma. It really helped me through life and just growing up. And I wanted to share that with everybody. And I also ended up getting very into rescuing animals during that time, because I rescued my horse. She was in a terrible, terrible abuse situation. And I rescued her, and that kind of just started it all. Well, actually, the first rescue I had was when I was like 6 years old, and I rescued a turtle with 3 legs, and I still have her. But yeah, so I really got passionate about that. And with all that, I became really passionate about psychology, because I wanted to understand the human mind and the animal mind and the connection. So I started studying psychology. I went to school here in Denver and got my bachelor's in criminal justice and in psychology. I was really passionate about understanding the justice system too, because I wanted to understand why everything goes the way it goes and how the bad people are caught. And so that really inspired me, because I learned about criminal minds. I learned about all these different things with psychology, with my second degree in that. And I went on to become a sports psychologist. And so I had to get a master's, and I'm about to finish my master's program right now to become a sports psychologist. And I don't just want to do basic sports psychology with just athletes. I also want to do life coaching and bringing that all together. And I've started to work in that industry, and I've just found that I'm able to help kids and people just in general with a lot of the problems that they're facing, and give them good skills to keep them motivated, because I'm all about motivating people and pushing people to find their biggest potential and make their life more meaningful. So I do that through psychology and mental strength training and life coaching, health coaching, helping with nutrition, everything like that. I'm a personal trainer too, so I'm really passionate about mind, body, and spirit, and integrating that with animals. So I now have a ranch that I live on. It's all rescue animals, and they're some of the coolest creatures ever, and they have the greatest stories, and they give back to me and to a lot of people. I get to be with them.
Beautiful. Good. Well, cheers to you and all the things that you're doing and having this passion for animals, starting at 6 years old, rescuing a turtle, and, very much resonate with what you're talking about. We also have our equine sanctuary here and have these wonderful rescues that have sometimes everybody, it's very cliche at this point, right? That the animals rescue you, but it's such a fact. I would not be here if it wasn't for animals and the desire to grow up to help people through horses. And I remember, and I love the fact that you've worked with horses as well. This horse, her name was Ebony, and I was 11 years old, and life had zero hope. It was a goose egg, other than horses. And I remember the lady who is still in my life, wonderful person who's helped with some of the rescues that we've been partnered with, and this wonderful entrepreneur that was a role model to me. And she asked, can you help with this horse, Ebony? She throws people off. She's kind of an unruly horse. And in retrospect, I realized, regardless of her intent, that horse is why I'm alive today, right? Why we're here, how we're here, and how we're able to, support people. And it's magnificent when you meet that horse. It just kind of kicks you to tell you, no, you can't be passive. You can't be aggressive. You can't be passive aggressive, right? You can't be all these things because the horse will not lie to you. It will not fluff to tell you you're healthy. It tells you, no, you're not healthy, and I'm going to resist you. Can you share a little bit about how horses can impact people that have been through trauma?
Yeah. So, from firsthand experience with my trauma, I always like to tell that story first because I think that it gives a very good glimpse of really the impact a horse can have on someone with trauma. But when I was in middle school, I basically had a full nervous system shut down and I quit speaking completely. Went mute. I had horrible stomach issues, total mess. And somebody recommended equine therapy to my family. And we got me in with a trainer, basically. We just started with her because we wanted to have something. We couldn't find an equine assisted therapist at the time. And this trainer basically just brought me in and told me to touch the horses and figure it out, learn what they're about. And I didn't know anything. I had ridden horses and loved horses my whole life, but I had never actually taken care of one or spent time learning how to take care of them. So I just was kind of thrown into it and I had to figure it out. And I had to learn these horses' mannerisms. And like you said, they're very different creatures and they're very in tune. And when I tell people that don't understand horses, they're like, how is an animal that big that seems so dumb to some people, that in tune with emotion? And I'm like, if you get on a horse and you're angry, you'll see the difference between that and if you're really happy on a horse. Because they feel it. They feel everything. Think about the tiny little fly landing on their back. They feel that. So for me, having an animal that in tune with emotion was able to really bring me out of my shell. And the first thing I started talking to was a horse. That was the first time I started talking in ages. It's almost 6 months. And it slowly brought me back to speaking and wanting to eat and getting healthy. And ultimately it saved my life. And that one of the horses that I met in the very beginning is still my horse. She still lives on my property, which is the best thing that ever happened to me. But I think that immersing yourself with an animal and knowing that they're completely safe, but they're also completely in tune with you can really help you through trauma because it's this attachment and this bond that you can develop that you may not have had or been able to develop with humans because humans have caused a lot of trauma. So I think horses allow that.
Well said. On the humans have caused a lot of trauma. There's something about a prey animal. A horse is very rare because we see deer and they see us, they run, right? And horses are prey animals as well. They don't have horns, they don't have fangs. Yet in the wild, the stallion will often bring the herd to run. And that's a means of escape. There's not much else to fight. And yet horses, all through documented history, have been what has changed humanity, shaped wars. And if a horse trusts you, they'll run. They know you. Yeah. You can't tell a horse, I'm trustworthy. I'm a badass. If
They
you're
have to
not,
determine.
the horse goes, nah, no, you're not. Come back to me in
They'll
like
check
5
you
months.
too. They'll
Yeah.
test you.
Let me like throw you off my back, and then if you have the same shit to say, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So it's very unique. It teaches you something. And they'll run toward a spear in a war because they know that man or that woman on my back knows this is not a threat. This is a mission. And there's something about us trauma survivors that have been through hell and back that really maybe shouldn't be here. That you see a beautiful person, a successful person, an intelligent person, but you don't see underneath the surface and the memories and the sounds, and the visuals, and all these things. And there's something about horses that brings that out to show you still need to work on this, but I trust you enough to go into the battle of you. So it's a magical creature, and I love showcasing people that have that compassion to rescue the animals, to heal with the animals, and to pay it forward with the animals. So you're an inspiration to a lot of people. And what advice would you give somebody if the 14-year-old Lauren, what would you tell her if she was staring at herself in the mirror feeling like life wasn't worth trying for?
That life gets better if you put yourself out there and find yourself, learn to love yourself again. Like there's so much more than your trauma. We're at the end of the day, trauma is not, it's a piece of you, but it is not you. It does not define you. And so being able to recognize that you can get through it, knowing that you're not alone, that there are people that are going to be there for you. There are animals that are going to be there for you. So don't give up.
Beautiful. And what's one misconception that people may have about you that you would like to share underneath that misconception, what really is?
I would say one thing that I'm pretty open about, which some people with trauma aren't, is getting out there and talking about it, And I do use social media as a tool for spreading word about mental illness, trauma, whatever it is, sharing my story in hopes that it brings people to talking to me. I've shared a lot on Instagram or Facebook about my story, and I've had women come to me and come out to me about their trauma. But I've had so much criticism of it too. Like, why do you post this stuff? Like, this is so personal. If you're have been traumatized, why would you want to just put that out there that you're traumatized? I'm like, and I think that that's a very sad misconception because there's so much to learn and there's so much that you can get by being there for people and putting yourself out there and allowing them to see that they're not completely alone. So I think that's a misconception about me that I try to just say, like, that's not my point, and that is I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yes, but it's a warrior thing to do, to share a story. Absolutely. Much agreed. And, to anybody watching that has a story that you've been encouraged or even coerced to not share, from myself, from Lauren, from other ladies that we've showcased with this, there's so much to sharing your story, to owning the adversity. I hid my story in the corporate world for 16 years really. And everyone thought, oh, this badass person, this fierce person, or this, go-getter. And yes, I was, but I didn't share that it was this deep pain, that I had a passion for helping people through animals, through nonprofit, through charity. And it was a hidden story because they thought, oh, well, if they know, they won't think I'm a whole person. And it's absolutely not the case because, you've seen it today and you'll see it as we continue to go on, and you'll see it with the people that have worked with our services and other services, with your services. It's really being able to overcome adversity, stare yourself in the face, and still love that person that somebody may have taken so many valuable things away from, and to share that love and to show up with trust and loving energy to people, non-judgment, non-competition, and realize that we are human, and the fact that we've been through things is what makes the special within all of us. So cheers to you and to everybody that we're showcasing for bringing that to the world and not being afraid to share that.
Yeah, you too. It's a lot to share and it's a lot to do. But spreading the word is the only way that there's going to be a difference made. and for people to feel like they belong and they have power. So I am here for the ride, and I'm here to empower other people. That's the whole point of getting through it, right?
Yes, thanks for watching, everyone, and can't wait to share all the beautiful photos from today.
Bye. Thank you.